Hi, Pauline.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you.
Thanks so much for making it. To everyone who doesn't know Pauline, Pauline is an advocate for women's hormone cycle. She is very passionate about the women's cycle and the effect of our hormones on our moods, our body. And Pauline, I'll let you take over and expand the introduction.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I love hormones. I love researching about them. I'm a hormone cycle expert, and what I love to teach is how to balance your hormones, because your hormones, yeah, they affect 6 vital systems: your brain, your metabolism, your immune system, your gut microbiome, your sexual reproductive system, and your stress response system. So I teach about how to naturally balance your cycles through nutrition, through movement, and mindset intentions.
Very interesting. Are you present on social media to push your message out?
Yeah, definitely. Social media has been my biggest tool for my work. Basically, I am so passionate about people learning this information, and so social media has given me the outreach to, yeah, reach people, because most research has been done on men and males' hormone cycle, which is only 24 hours long, whereas a woman's cycle is a month long. So we need different things at different times of the cycle, and social media has been, like, yeah, such a tool and such a boost to spread the message that women don't need to live in pain every single month, that we don't need to be having PMS and period pains. And if anything, that's your body screaming at you to take care of yourself. So yeah, social media has been a huge, especially when I am making infographics, things that are shareable, that people, then that ends up spreading the message even more, which is my goal, is to get this information spread to as many people as possible.
Interesting. Out of curiosity, so what was a trigger moment that inspired you to go down the route of studying hormones and the effect of the woman's cycle?
Yeah, so it all started, I was always wanting to be a doctor. I was an aspiring doctor. I went through the first 4 years of, in the US, we do pre-medicine, so all anatomy, physiology, chemistry, biology, organic chemistry. And I had sat in on a few classes at medical school in my 5th year, and I was just like, why are we learning about, like, pharmaceutical drugs, what to give, and, like, why aren't we understanding why this person is sick, and why, how we can treat this, and what they're doing in their lives to help this. So I didn't want to support the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, I have my reasons for it, but I just believe that we can build our immune system. We are adaptable. We're humans that are natural beings, and we can become better and healthier without the use of synthetic products. So I quit that route. I went traveling, and I was on the pill, on hormonal birth control, for 10 years, since the age of 16, because I was having debilitating cramps. And the doctor didn't tell me, like, hey, look, this is your hormone cycle, and yeah, you're having cramps and mood swings and all this stuff, but take a pill and your period goes away. And little did I know that birth control, hormonal birth control, suppresses every vital system in your body so that you're too sick to give birth. So that means it stunts your brain from developing, it stops your gut from taking in nutrients, it increases your risk of depression by up to 220%. Like, it's insane how many side effects that literally just suppress everything in your health, just so you can prevent that one day of pregnancy. So after 10 years, I came off birth control, and I went through a year of depression, and I lost half my hair, and I had no idea what was going on.
From coming off birth control?
Yeah, from coming off of it. It's because like I've been depending on hormones,
yeah, of course,
for 10 years, and then all of a sudden your hormones are like, what? Yeah, there's no more dependency. And so my own natural body was trying to balance out, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, and because birth control is synthetic testosterone. So it just makes us work into the male like 24-hour cycle so we can follow our careers and things like
Right.
that.
Okay. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
So is it mainly testosterone? Is there a mix of different hormones or?
There's a mix of different hormones, all synthetic, but
Wow.
it's the code name progestin that you see in hormonal birth control
Progesterone.
well, progesterone is our natural hormone, but progestin is the name they use to cover up. It sounds female, but it actually is synthetic testosterone.
Okay.
So then we're just feeding
Wow.
ourselves synthetic testosterone. So it makes us more into doing that 9 to 5 grind, putting us into the system of the workforce. And
Would that then also affect our biological actions, like maybe perhaps stocking less fat or building more muscle? Do we then get more manly attributes in that way?
we do. We end up gaining weight. We end up losing hair in common places that men, or even growing hair in like facial hair. And yeah, it's anything that male hormones, they tend to gain weight mostly on their stomach, whereas women, we tend to gain weight on our thighs and our breasts. So it does have that opposite effect. It also gets rid of your stress response system. This is one of the craziest ones for me, is that we have this stress response system called the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary, which are both in your brain. They're glands that send a signal down to the adrenals. And your adrenals are what makes cortisol, your stress hormone. And then your adrenals, once you feel stress, your adrenals will send a signal back up into your brain to be like, okay, I feel enough stress, you can cool down. But when you're taking hormonal birth control, that signaling system to cool down, it's gone. It's disappeared when you're on birth control. So all of your body just holds on to the stress. And then, of course, when you have an overload of stress in your body, you get sick and your liver has to overdrive. It's insane. It's insane how doctors are prescribing this nonchalantly, like just take the pill. But they also didn't learn this in school. They're just, I mean, they just learn what pill to give versus like, oh, like, you know, we need different nutrients at different times of the cycle. How can we optimize our fertility? How can we optimize our biology to be the best woman possible, to be able to adapt to society's norms, but also, be the most empowered woman you can be? And this is what I love to teach about. I find it so important that we don't necessarily compare or compete with men, but thrive as a woman. And men can thrive as men too. And it's not a competition. It's just acknowledging our differences and our different cycles.
Yeah, I'm blown away with the effect that it has on our I mean, I know that it affects our moods, but so far as to stunt you into a depression that lasted a year, you said? That's huge.
Until I found out how hormones affect us. And I was like, what? Like, no wonder one day I was super happy and the next day I'm super sad. That's just because estrogen went from ovulating, feeling so amazing, to the next, like into the introverted phase. And then it's like, of course, we're just more introverted. Our hormones think we're pregnant. And so those like mood swings, I thought were just like, why am I like, for 10 years, I just had a daily dose of the same thoughts. Whereas when you're naturally cycling, you have these. So that's what got me out of depression, was understanding my thoughts and understanding. Because we have over 6,000 thoughts a day and most of them are hormonal. So when you understand that most of your thoughts
your hormones
are hormonal,
work.
You can just
Better
let
emotional intelligence. Super interesting. I feel like there's so little research around this and so little information put out and so much complexity within the science of hormones. So in what ways, like what tools do you use to push your message out? And what social media platforms are you on?
My biggest one is Instagram. That's where I get the most engagement. Although I do connected to my Facebook, it's Instagram that I get the most from. And what's really, really helped, like I mentioned before, is creating those infographics. So things that people can share. Those are, graphs or like just short messages, information, like pictures that that can be easily shared, and that has helped spread the message and the awareness about taking care of your hormones.
Do you do a lot of video-based content as well, like lives or IGTV or Reels?
Yeah. Honestly, for the last 2 months, I kind of took a break ever since I started my online program, just because I was like, oh, I just want to take a break from social media. But up until my program, I was being very diligent into posting one infographic and then a reel and then infographic reel. And yeah, every other day it was posting that, and I'm getting back into it today actually. So
nice.
Yeah.
For the occasion.
Yeah.
Which method do you feel like yielded better impact for your channel, for your Instagram? Do you feel like the reels or the infographics, which one had more engagement and which one sort of like engaged people more?
The infographics, I would say.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So probably because it's more visual, and people who, I feel like Instagram, hence the name Insta, is very much an instant, like based on the moment, very quick, very rapid and short attention span oriented audience. And so perhaps an infographic, because it's visual and you can see the message there and then and there, and it's like, bam, understood, because people are scrolling, right? So
yeah, for sure.
cool. And so in what ways do you feel like it's impacted your being on, is it a relatively new channel? Have you been on Instagram for a long time?
I've been on Instagram for a long time. However, I only started being proactive about sharing hormone cycle awareness in the last, I would say, year that I was posting quite a bit. And I have grown my following from the beginning of this year was probably 1,000, and now I have almost 4,000.
Nice.
Yeah, grew quite a bit in the last.
And on Facebook, in comparison, has it not been as active, and did it not grow as fast?
Yeah, no, for some reason I feel like my Facebook is more, I also use it as a tool, but it's just not, I don't go off on it often. I mainly use Instagram, and then it transfers over to Facebook, to be honest. Yeah.
And have you only been going about organic reach, or have you tried paid advertisement?
I have not tried paid advertisement yet. This has only been organic reach.
Okay, great. Have you tried collaborating? Collaborating is a huge a huge pro for outreach.
Yeah, for sure.
There's that new feature. I don't know if you saw Instagram's new feature where you can simultaneously post with another person in a collaboration, and then both have that in their title. So you can click on the other person. It's a hidden hyperlink onto the name, and that way you can simultaneously post the same information and have it as a collab. Don't know if you've tried that.
No, I haven't. I'll have to try that, because I do collaborations with like IG lives, and when I do my online workshops, I do collaborations like that. So it would be good to do, definitely have that little tool.
So Instagram's sort of the talk of the town, and everyone, as soon as they start a brand or a label or anything, they think of creating an Instagram account. Facebook's sort of become yesterday's news. But are you on TikTok? Because I feel like TikTok's tomorrow's news.
I know, right? I did start, I think I posted maybe 2 videos on TikTok, and I was like, I don't know.
I know it's sort of a new terrain, and it feels very young. It's quite a young audience, but it's a great way of spreading your message to all the young girls that haven't gotten to perhaps getting on the birth control, because they're as young as 12 on TikTok, and usually girls get prescribed around the age of 14, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. So it would be a great way of getting the message spread out to the audience before they get on birth control, and before.
Totally.
And it can also be in a different format. I mean, TikTok is video, but it can be revisited and not, and it can be a sort of a montage with infographics. It can be not necessarily a person talking or saying something, but a animation or a montage with the pictures.
Right. Yeah, totally. Thank you for the inspiration.
I'm just thinking TikTok is is such a great and easy way to gain a lot of followers. And seeing as your message is hormone cycle awareness, I feel like it's fitting because there's a lot more channels that are growing on there that are information based and education platforms sort of.
Right.
So I'm curious to know if you to hear your thoughts on how social media has impacted the way people communicate. Do you feel like it's changed our generation's way of communicating?
Gosh, I mean, surely, I mean, especially during COVID times when you can't communicate very well with people, but honestly, it has created good communication between me and my family. Since we all live in different parts of the world, they still get to see things that I'm doing. And so it is allowing for like a better communication in a sense, because my family's like, okay, I see what you're doing. And I don't have to necessarily explain to them in depth, like, oh, I'm posting on this social media platform, and so they get to see all that. And then into the day-to-day life though, between people, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people are making less time for in-person stuff when they have social media and when they have this distance. But I do believe that it also has created such good communication, because I do have friends from all over the world that it's like, yay, I get to still keep in contact with them thanks to social media. So
yeah, there's definitely pros and cons.
mhm.
And so what tip or a lesson you've learned along the way that can help others amplify their outreach?
I think my best move was to create those infographics.
Yeah, okay.
That was a
Cool.
big thing for me. Yeah.
Okay. With your Instagram account, is it branded with a hormone cycle awareness concept name, or is it under yours? Is it a private? And would you
Yeah.
like to share it for the viewers so they can visit and
Yeah.
if they're interested in knowing more about it?
Yeah. So it's just my name. It's Pauline Giselle, Pauline Gisele. And yeah, but it is pretty much all about hormones. I do my stories are more personal stuff, but then my content is about hormones and how they affect us and whatnot. So
Would you ever consider creating a sort of brand for it and having a brand name and making it more
yeah,
like
I do have a brand called Om Cycle. So it's ovulation menstruation cycle. I'm a yoga
okay.
teacher as well. Yeah. And I've created yoga for the hormone cycle. And so I am currently getting my website built with the brand name Om Cycle, so that I could eventually change my name into just being a brand and having that and separating my personal life with my business more. So it's on that route.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Do you know a lot about tokenization and creating
I could always learn more.
Would you, so tokenization would be the process of creating a token for your brand. In your case, for your brand. It can be for an individual, it can be for, I mean, creating a token is sort of almost a parallel would be, your brand going public and having shares for sale, people being able to purchase shares of your brand, except they're buying the tokens.
Right.
Would you, and so I'm curious to know if you'd consider creating a token for
Om
cycle.
Cycle. Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I have had a few conversations with some unit people about it. So I'm definitely in and have, yeah,
Super cool.
I definitely think it's a great idea.
Yeah, epic.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today on the female cycle? Some tips. I'm curious to know about the nutrition tips. You mentioned earlier that there's different nutritional needs that we have depending on the time of our cycle. I'm really curious.
Yeah, for sure. So like I mentioned, like most research has been done on men. So all these diet fads of like, okay, you need to be keto, you need to be carnivore, you need to be vegan. Like women, we
Yes.
don't work like this. So we have these 4 different phases where we do need like different things at different times of the cycle. So you can imagine that when you're bleeding, you're losing a lot of iron, you're losing a lot of blood. So in this blood we have, we're losing mainly iron, magnesium, and zinc. So you want to be eating foods with iron, magnesium, and zinc. Yeah, you're like, grab my pencil.
No, it's magnesium thing. I mean,
Yeah.
the iron one seemed pretty logical, and I do that
Yeah.
naturally just because of
Yeah.
pragmatic thinking. Like, we're losing
But-
blood, I probably need iron. But magnesium and zinc, I wasn't aware of.
Yep. Yeah, zinc, you need to make sure you have it on a full stomach. Because if you take a supplement, at least a zinc supplement, because it can make you nauseous when you eat it on an empty stomach.
Yeah. So does iron, I feel like.
Yeah.
But then apparently
then-
it's supposed to be taken on an empty stomach 30 minutes before eating, otherwise it's not properly absorbed.
Okay,
So I'm
do
always
the iron
like,
before.
yeah, I'm always
Yeah.
reticent about it though. I'm like, oh, apprehending the nausea, but
Right.
apparently it's the only way that the body can properly assimilate its full benefits. And it
right.
can't be mixed with zinc. So at different times of the day.
Yep, for sure. And then yeah, after we bleed, it's omega-3s and DIMs. And then yeah,
Which one is
omega-3s.
the other
So
one?
think of DIM, it's the compound found in like in broccoli, cabbage, kale, those cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts. And then when we are, same when we're ovulating, and then when we are in our luteal phase before our period, after we ovulate, then you really want healthy fats and slow burning carbs. So these are warming spices. You want warming spices, you want like sweet potato and pumpkin. Think like fall foods, autumn type foods, and or curries.
Good way of remembering.
Yeah.
I'll check out your infographics for those.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I have an ebook as well that tells you, it's 13 pages. And
where can
right
our
now
audience find that?
Yeah, if you go to my Instagram, or you can go to balanceyourcycle.com, and there's a link to it. Right now on my Instagram, because of Thanksgiving festivities in the US, I'm doing a Black Friday sale this week. So it's, instead of $29, it's $19. But yeah, you get 13 pages of exactly what you need nutritionally, movement wise, because our bodies change throughout the cycle, and as well as what we think at different times and how you can plan things based around your cycle. So yeah,
amazing.
The link in my bio, and you'll find it with the discount code Thank Yourself. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did have one last question in regards to the keto diet you mentioned earlier. Have you ever tried that?
I have, yeah. I've tried a lot of diets, keto diet and carnivore diet. I did it for a month, and just beef. Yeah, I've tried all sorts of things to try to reduce inflammation, and then found that all these diets are actually just for men, not for women.
Yeah.
But what about the keto diet? What's your question about the keto diet?
I briefly tried it for 3 weeks, I think was my threshold, and the mood swings were real. I think the sugar withdrawals were real.
We need insulin.
Do women need more sugar than men? Make that yes.
Yes, we do. Just not processed, but fruit, vegetables, like we definitely need those. So men thrive. Men thrive. They get their energy from high protein, high fat diets, but women, we thrive more on carbohydrates. So that's where we get our energy from. So, but that again comes with like, okay, what natural foods are you going towards? Not the processed flour. Like you can get rid of the white diet, the gluten, dairy, and sugar. Getting rid of that, you'll find so much relief in your cycle. Like you'll balance your hormones within 1 month. It's great.
And so do men not have to balance, I mean, other than obviously the diet and the exercise and the right amount of sleep, do men have to, I guess they don't have the need to balance their hormone as much as women because they haven't been prescribed the pill their whole lives.
Right, yeah, but they do need to balance their hormones as well. Balancing your hormones, we're natural beings that are constantly trying to get pregnant. So how do we optimize our health? Is optimizing our fertility. So of course, if you're eating at like McDonald's every single day, and like, or even any time of the month, if you're eating at McDonald's, you're throwing off your hormones. But we want to, because a lot of men, they do still feel anxiety and depression and weight gain, hair loss, things like that. That's all hormonal. Everything is hormonal Whenever you think something's not hormonal, it's still hormonal, because your hormones affect your thoughts, your desires, your emotions, your body, literally everything.
That's so interesting. Like when you actually wrap your head around the fact that, you know, your hormones dictate the way you think and the way and your desires, like that you no longer, it touches on free will.
You
exactly.
No, completely. And you realize that your hormones have their own agenda of just trying to get pregnant, just trying to survive. And then it's like, wait, if my hormones are controlling everything about me, you know, how do I separate myself from my hormones and make decisions based on my higher self, and make decisions not based on the ego, not based on your hormones, but make decisions being like, okay, am I really craving that, or is that because of my hormones? Yeah, now you understand why you're so affected by smells, for sure. And different times of the cycle, also, you know, our smell is different at different times of the cycle, and how we even attract a mate is based on smell and hormones, and we have different desires in men and partners at different times of the cycle. It's super interesting.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Pauline? Feel free to type it out. No one? Okay, well, I guess this wraps it up, because we'll need the room for the next person. We're reaching to an end, but thank you so much, Pauline, for this really, really insightful talk. I feel like we've all learned a lot about the hormone cycle, and thank you for the tips, the nutritive tips, the nutritional tips.
Sure.
And yeah, if anyone wants to find Pauline, it's Pauline Giselle, her Instagram account. You'll find all the information there, the link to her ebook in her bio, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me,
and feel free to stay on for the next talk if you're interested.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Sure.